Welcome back. The rain drove us inside. We are at the Tata Steel cold rolling mill. This is perhaps where Tata Steel does its most value addition. It's a plant that is set up by Mr. Muthuraman. Mr. Muthuraman, thank you for staying with us. What is your view on the recovery in European steel prices? And when do you see Corus being able to go back to the pricing level or pricing stage it enjoyed maybe 2 years ago?
I'll tell you what we are doing in Tata Steel Europe, which is what Corus is called today. Starting from about November 2008, we launched a program called the Weathering the Storm program, which is our tactical response to reduced market demand. And what we have been doing in the Weathering the Storm program is, temporarily closing down some facilities, severe cost reduction, overhead reduction, administrative cost reduction, and speeding up many of our improvement projects. And in this program, even though we started only in November 2008, in the second half of last year, we saved 730 million pounds compared to the first half of last year.
And these are fixed costs we were able to bring down.
And this is the both fixed and variable costs we have brought down. And our attempt now is to retain much of that cost reduction even when the volumes go up. So this year, during 2009-2010, we expect a saving of about 850 million pounds from that Weathering the Storm program. In addition to that, what we have done is we have announced two Fit for the Future program, which is a more strategic, longer term, and basically restructuring operations, basically putting process improvements and so on. And we are planning to save around 250 million pounds, on a sustainable basis. This year it will be about 100 million pounds. So the whole attempt in our European operations is to make the European operations globally competitive. Even if the steel prices don't go up, even if at the normal raw material prices, we should be getting an EBITDA margin of about $100 a ton in our European operations, and that is the objective.
Okay, I'll ask one more question, Corus. When do you see, this is on the cost side of course, but when do you see Corus coming back to FY08 volumes?
If in the entire Europe, all steel companies in Europe will come back to volumes of FY08, I think it will take 3 or 4 years. But what is more important is we need to be able to sustainably make profits even at reduced demand levels in Europe. That is the attempt that is being made.
Okay, we hear you're a very impatient man, and we hear that it was your impatience at the pace of which things were happening in India that made you look outside India for acquisitions. Is that correct?
Yeah, I am indeed an impatient man when it comes to performance improvement, when it comes to demonstrating the passion and the vigor that is required to correct situations. India, our Indian operations have been used to continuous improvement culture for a long time, which is why we have won the Deming Prize last year. And I do expect, and in our European operations, while we have had very good last 5-6 years, I do believe that we have already started speeding up the improvement process. And what I see happening in the last, I would say, 6 months is actually very good news in Europe. People are absorbing the continuous improvement culture, people are speeding up, and the success that we have achieved in the Weathering the Storm program and the Fit for the Future program gives me great confidence that we will do things as fast in Europe as we have done in India.
Okay. When you took over in an interview just before you took over as MD, you said, and let me quote, you said the main challenge for me is to bring about an alignment of 48,000 minds to converge in one direction to take the company to greater heights. Was it difficult to convince people here in Jamshedpur about Corus? Because people may have felt that the importance of Jamshedpur may come down.
You see, I must give you a bit of a background on that subject. It is really only after Mr. Ratan Tata took over as the chairman of Tata Steel in 1992 that the mindset of the people of our Indian operations started to change into more global mindset, into thinking big, into thinking beyond Jamshedpur. All that has began to happen in 92, 93, and I believe that after 2000, the speed of those changes, the speed of those mindset changes have really taken to great speed, and it has really blossomed. And I do believe that the Jamshedpur people understand, even though Jamshedpur is somewhat far and beyond, the people of Jamshedpur and the employees of Jamshedpur really believe that this company needs to go global,
So it was
needs
not,
to become
it
big.
was not a fear that they
There
import
is-
would diminish their but pride
Absolutely.
that Jamshedpur are taking over the world.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There is no worry and there is no fear in anybody's mind.
In a sense, till about 10 years ago, steel in India meant Tata. Suddenly, a Mittal came into the scene. Was it pride also that drove you to make such an acquisition? Because suddenly the headlines were being made by somebody else.
No, pride is also important. You need to have, look, one of the most fundamental qualities of anyone, be it an executive or a worker or a normal employee, you must have pride in what you're doing. If you don't have pride in what you're doing, you cannot achieve it. But it is not merely the pride which is the reason for the acquisition. The reason for acquisition is strategic. Sometimes you will pay a high price, sometimes you will pay a low price. There are many other things that we have done where we have paid very low price and where we are reaping the benefits. So you need to balance it all.
Let me go back to when you took over Tata Steel. You said that you wanted to move 85% of your product into the right hand quadrant, which gave you value for money. You had 65% then.
Yeah.
Are you there near that 85%?
Yeah, we are very nearly there.
Okay.
For example, compared to what I said in 2001 or 2002, some years ago, we have got more finished products in Jamshedpur now, whereas we had a lot of semi-finished product at that time. We got more cold roll products where we are standing today. We got more galvanized product. We will very soon have color coated products. So what we have on the right hand corner box of that matrix, where high market share and also high margins meet, and which is where we are. Nearly 80% of our products is in that segment of the portfolio.
Muthuraman, when I began the interview, I said you've been 43 years in this company. I believe that just before you joined Tata Steel, you had a scholarship to go to Caltech.
Yes.
It would have been an opportunity for anybody. Why did you choose Tata Steel over Caltech?
You know, that opportunity to go to Caltech University was actually quite tempting. And after I got it, and simultaneously at that time I was selected for the graduate trainee of Tata Steel. So I went to my professor of metallurgy and head of the department of metallurgy in IIT Madras, Professor Ramachandran. So I asked Professor E.G.R. sir, what is it do you think I should do? He said, without thinking any further, you should choose Tata Steel. Because one, India needs metallurgists like you, because India is going to go great guns in steel industry. Second is, Tatas are great employers and Tata Steel is a fantastic institution, and that's where you should go. So I made up my mind in my professor's room.
Okay, coming to the future, what are the biggest challenges you leave for your successor here? Because you came in, I think, and if anything, you succeeded in branding steel better than anybody else has done. What is the challenge you leave for your successor?
I think my successors have got bigger challenges, I must say, because we are living in very difficult times. We are living through a one of the biggest global recessions the mankind has seen. So I would say that the following are the challenges for my successors. One is to run a very tight ship for the next 1 or 2 years, conserve cash and make sure we have enough cash for our future plans and growth and so on. Secondly, restructuring and re-engineering our European operations so that they become globally competitive in the next 2 or 3 years. Thirdly, to provide raw material security in terms of iron ore ownership and coal mine ownership to our European operations, which it has not enjoyed for many, many years since its inception. And I would say next is, we have got plans in India. India is a growing steel demand, growing steel market. We got our expansion plans in Jamshedpur. We got our expansion plans in Orissa and Chhattisgarh. To execute these plans, especially the greenfield plants, is a very big challenge in India. That's a big challenge for my successors.
You spoke about
And I think most of all, I think the biggest challenge is to run a large multinational and a multicultural company, which is what Tata Steel is today, unlike at the time when I took over in 2001, when Tata Steel was majorly a Jamshedpur company. And it's far more challenging to run a multinational and a multicultural company. And I'm quite sure that my successors would be up to it.
Talk about the success. How are the succession plans? I know you retire in September. How far are they? Are you going to name the successor here? Will it be Mr. Nurerkar or where? How is the succession process going out?
I think Tata Steel has a very good process of choosing successors. and it's really the board's responsibility and board's job. So I don't want to take take over the board's responsibility.
I was just trying my luck.
But in time to come, I'm sure the board will announce the correct choice of successors and the process.
Finally, what would you like to be remembered for? For having made the country's largest overseas acquisition or something else?
No, what I consider as something that I've helped get done in this company is really to open people's minds. We were a Jamshedpur based company. We were a 3 million ton company. We were a domestic company. And we had just come through only 10 years prior to 2000, a 45 or 47 year administered control of the government. And the administered control of the government does not result in any greatly innovative or creative thinking. From that mindset, people in the last, I would say 7-8 years have begun to think big, have begun to think global, have begun to think of acquisitions, have begun to think of Tata Steel as a global company and not a Jamshedpur company. And I believe that setting in motion of that mindset thinking is what I have helped to achieve. And I must also say one thing, while I may say that I have participated in this process and I helped to do that, the main catalyst for this process has actually been Mr. Ratan Tata, as I mentioned earlier.
Mr. Raman, thank you very much for joining. A pleasure having you.
Thank you.
On the show, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.